The grand halls of the Galactic Council's central chamber had never been so quiet. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the assembled representatives of over 300 spacefaring civilizations, her weathered face betraying no emotion as yet another alien delegate finished their speech about humanity's primitive understanding of quantum mechanics. The Vraxian ambassador, a towering figure whose crystalline body sparkled under the chamber's artificial stars, had spent the last 30 minutes explaining why humans shouldn't be allowed full voting rights in the council. They haven't even mastered basic gravitational manipulation, he sneered, his crystalline form resonating with what passed for laughter among his kind. How can they possibly contribute to discussions about interstellar trade routes? Sarah maintained her silence, a tactic that had become humanity's trademark in these sessions over the past 5 years. Behind her stood her small team. Dr. James Rodriguez, Earth's leading genotechnologist, and Commander Lai Wei, tactical advisor to the United Earth Defense Force. They too remained perfectly still, their faces masks of polite attention. The chamber's atmosphere grew increasingly tense with each passing moment of human silence. The Vraxians' crystals began to pulse with uncertain patterns of light. Other delegates shifted in their various forms of seating, some extending sensory organs for better observation of the human delegation. Perhaps, came the silky voice of High Speaker Sixth of the Meridian Collective, their gelatinous form rippling with bioluminescent patterns. Our human colleagues would care to respond to these concerns. The way they emphasized colleagues made it clear they considered humans anything but equals. Sarah finally moved, taking exactly 3 steps forward. The motion was so precise, so deliberate, that several delegates activated their defensive shields, expecting some kind of aggressive display. Instead, she simply smiled, a small, knowing expression that seemed to unsettle the assembled aliens far more than any outburst could have. The United Earth Alliance thanks the Council for their continued patience with our development, she said, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. We look forward to continuing our observation of proper Council protocols and learning from our more experienced colleagues. The same response, word for word, that humans had been giving for 5 years. No defense against accusations, no attempts to prove their worth, no angry rebuttals or desperate pleas for respect. Just calm, measured acknowledgement followed by more silence. In the gallery above, Arxos the Eternal, oldest of the precursor races, shifted his ancient form to focus all 7 of his primary sensing organs on the human delegation. Something about their behavior triggered patterns in his race's genetic memory, patterns that hadn't surfaced in over 10 million years. The last time a species had shown such systematic, unwavering restraint in the face of council mockery, they had revealed themselves to be masters of dimensional engineering, capable of folding space itself into weapons. That species had eventually ascended beyond physical form, leaving the galaxy entirely. But before they did, they had taught the Council a valuable lesson about judging developing civilizations. Arxos began composing an urgent message to his government, but he was already certain it would arrive too late. The humans' pattern of behavior wasn't random or cultural. It was too perfect, too calculated. They were following a plan, and today's session was clearly part of it. As if confirming his fears, Sarah Chen's smile widened ever so slightly as she caught his gaze. In that moment, Arxos realized that humanity had been watching the Watchers all along. The question wasn't whether humans were primitive, it was why they wanted the galaxy's powers to think they were. The answer, he suspected, would reshape the Council forever. Deep within the asteroid belt of humanity's home system, Admiral Chen's shuttle approached what appeared to be nothing more than a dormant mining facility. As her vessel passed through seemingly empty space, the holographic camouflage rippled briefly, revealing the true scale of humanity's best-kept secret, the Phoenix Array. Stretching across 20 kilometers of space, the massive installation housed Earth's real fleet, not the outdated fusion dry ships they showed to alien observers, but the culmination of 50 years of reverse engineering and innovation that had begun the moment humanity detected its first alien transmission. Status report. Chen commanded as she stepped onto the command deck. The chamber was a marvel of human engineering, with neural interfaces and quantum displays that would make even the Meridian Collective's technology look primitive. Dr. Rodriguez's hologram materialized beside her. "The quantum mesh is ready, Admiral. We've successfully tested it across the Kuiper Belt. Complete sensor invisibility. Not even the Vraxian's crystalline arrays can detect our ships when it's active. And the Lazarus Protocol. Operational. We can have the entire fleet assembled and ready within 15 minutes of activation. The aliens' own stealth tech gave us the final piece we needed. They just don't know we've been studying it all along." Chen nodded, walking to the central display where a real-time hologram showed the current council session. The aliens were still debating humanity's status, still convinced of their superiority. None of them had wondered why Earth had accepted such limited observation of their space program, or why humans seemed so unconcerned about their technological backwardness. "Show me Ghost Fleet," Chen ordered. The display shifted, revealing hundreds of ships hidden throughout Earth's solar system. Each vessel incorporated technologies the aliens thought impossible for humans to understand, let alone master. But humanity had done more than master them. They had improved upon them. Commander Lai Wei's voice came through the quantum comm. "Admiral, the Vraxians are preparing another routine patrol near Jupiter. Same pattern as before. They're trying to probe our defenses while maintaining plausible deniability." "Let them come," Chen replied, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "They'll see exactly what we want them to see." "Has Section 7 completed the latest updates to our sensor profile?" "Yes, Admiral. As far as their scans can tell, we're still struggling with basic antimatter containment. The artificial radiation leaks are performing perfectly. They think we're decades away from stable matter-antimatter reactions." The deception had been perfect, planned down to the smallest detail. While alien observers documented Earth's primitive space program, humanity's real achievements remained hidden behind layers of technological camouflage. Every failed experiment, every limitation of human science, had been carefully orchestrated to paint a picture of a species barely ready for interstellar travel. In reality, humanity had cracked the code of quantum gravimetrics years ago. The breakthrough had come not from brute force computation or advanced materials, but from a fundamentally different approach to physics itself. Where alien civilizations had built their technologies around controlling natural forces, humans had learned to work with them, creating systems that were both more efficient and harder to detect. "Dr. Rodriguez," Chen called out, "show me the latest data on their defense systems." The hologram filled with technical specifications, every weakness, every blind spot in alien military technology that humanity had discovered during their years of playing the primitive species. The aliens' overconfidence had made them careless, openly discussing classified technologies in front of the simple humans. Their entire defensive doctrine is based on the assumption that any advanced civilization would develop technology along the same paths they did, Rodriguez explained. "They can't detect our ships because they're not even looking for the principles we're using. It's not just about being invisible. We're operating on a level they don't know exists." Chen smiled as she watched another alien delegation arrive at the council chamber, their ships bristling with weapons they thought represented the pinnacle of military technology. Soon, very soon, they would learn just how dangerous it was to underestimate humanity. "Begin final preparations," she ordered. "It's time to show the galaxy why silence doesn't always mean weakness. Initiate Project Revelation." Throughout the solar system, hidden shipyards hummed to life. Quantum computers began final calculations. And beneath the surface of humanity's carefully crafted facade, an armada unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen prepared to rewrite the balance of power forever. High Speaker Zixith of the Meridian Collective noticed it first, a pattern so subtle that their initial reports were dismissed as paranoia. Ships would disappear from long-range scans near human space, only to reappear moments later. The anomalies were brief, almost imperceptible, like ripples in a pond that vanished before you could focus on them. "Watch," they instructed their senior analysts, their gelatinous form pulsing with concern as they reviewed sensor logs from the past month. "Every 43 hours, exactly, there's a microscopic fluctuation in the quantum background radiation near Earth's asteroid belt." The analysis team had spotted similar anomalies near Mars, Jupiter's moons, and even in the distant Kuiper belt. Each incident lasted less than a picosecond, too brief to trigger standard alerts, too regular to be natural. But the collective wasn't the only one noticing strange patterns. In the crystalline halls of the Vraxian High Command, war strategist Kurtal compiled his own troubling report. Human trading vessels, supposedly powered by primitive fusion drives, were arriving at their destinations exactly on schedule, regardless of solar wind conditions or gravitational interference. Their navigational precision matched that of the most advanced Vraxian ships, yet their observed technology shouldn't have allowed for such accuracy. "They're hiding something," Kurtal reported to the Vraxian Council, his crystalline form vibrating with frustration. "Our deep space sensors detect no advanced propulsion signatures, no quantum wake, nothing to explain their efficiency. It's as if they're..." "As if they're what?" demanded First Crystal Vic Strix. "As if they're invisible to our most sophisticated detection systems," Kurtal finished quietly. In the ancient archives of the precursor race, Arxos the Eternal made a disturbing discovery. He had been searching through historical records of species that had exhibited similar behavioral patterns to humans. The results were unsettling. Every civilization that had displayed such calculated restraint had eventually revealed themselves to be far more advanced than they appeared. But humanity's deception went deeper, lasted longer than any previous example. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, the daily session proceeded as usual. Admiral Chen and her team maintained their characteristic silence as various species debated Earth's status. But today, something was different. The hive mind of the Zarkax, usually dismissive of human affairs, had dispatched observers to study Earth's delegation. "Their neural patterns are too ordered," the hive mind reported through its ambassadors. "No species at their supposed level of development should be capable of such perfect emotional control. Even our most disciplined warriors show more variation." The warnings were there for those who knew where to look. Earth's primitive defense grid had never once been successfully penetrated by spy probes, despite using technology that should have been easily defeated. Their communications, while appearing to use basic encryption, somehow proved impossible to crack. Their ships, while seemingly simple, never suffered catastrophic failures despite operating in supposedly dangerous ways. In a secure meeting room adjacent to the council chamber, representatives from 7 of the most powerful species gathered to share their concerns. The Vraxians brought their sensor logs, the Meridian Collective their pattern analyses, the Zarkax their neural scans. Each piece of evidence, viewed alone, could be dismissed. Together, they painted a picture that none of them wanted to acknowledge. "They're not just hiding their capabilities," Arxos declared to the assembled leaders. "They're hiding their true nature. The humans we've been observing, the civilization we've been dismissing. It's all an elaborate facade." As if to underscore his words, another quantum fluctuation rippled through space near Earth, lasting just long enough for the most sensitive instruments to detect a massive energy signature before it vanished completely. The size of the reading suggested power output greater than anything known to the council races. In the human delegation's private chambers, Admiral Chen received a coded quantum transmission. "Project Revelation is ready," it read. "All systems are green. Awaiting your command." Chen allowed herself a small smile as she composed her response. After 5 years of careful preparation, of playing the role of an underdeveloped species, humanity was ready to show its true face to the galaxy. The aliens' growing suspicion was all part of the plan. The first cracks in their certainty, the seeds of doubt that would soon blossom into revelation. "Execute final phase," she transmitted back. Time to wake the sleeping giant. Throughout human space, hidden quantum transmitters activated, sending coded signals to ships and installations that officially didn't exist. The greatest theatrical performance in human history was about to reach its final act, and the audience had no idea they were about to witness history in the making. The council chamber erupted in chaos as every sensor array and detection system simultaneously registered massive energy signatures throughout human space. What had appeared to be empty void just moments ago now blazed with power readings that exceeded the combined output of the entire Vraxian fleet. Admiral Chen stood at the podium, her previous mask of polite deference replaced by an expression of quiet confidence. Behind her, the chamber's massive holographic display activated, showing real-time footage of what was happening across Earth's solar system. The Phoenix Array revealed itself first. The massive installation shimmered into visibility as its quantum camouflage deactivated, its true form causing several alien delegates to physically recoil. What they had dismissed as a primitive mining operation was actually a megastructure that dwarfed anything in known space. For 5 years, Chen began, her voice carrying easily over the stunned murmurs. You've questioned humanity's place among the stars. You've doubted our capabilities, mocked our achievements, and dismissed our potential. Today, those doubts end. As if responding to her words, ships began appearing throughout the solar system. Not the crude fusion-driven vessels the aliens had been monitoring, but sleek warships that seemed to bend reality around them. They emerged from quantum shadows, each one representing technology that the Council races had deemed impossible for humanity to achieve. The Ghost Fleet, Chen continued, gesturing to the display. Over 500 ships equipped with technology that doesn't just match yours. It surpasses it. While you watched our primitive vessels, these ships were perfecting technologies you haven't even theorized yet. The Vraxian ambassador's crystalline form vibrated with shock as his sensors analyzed the human vessels. Impossible, he whispered. Their whole composition. It's not just deflecting our scans, it's absorbing them, converting them into power. Quantum absorption technology, Dr. Rodriguez explained, stepping forward. Just one of many advances we've made while you were so convinced of our inferiority. Your own scanning attempts have been powering our stealth systems for years. More revelations followed. The humans demonstrated gravity manipulation that made the aliens' most advanced systems look crude by comparison. Their ships moved with impossible precision, using principles of space-time manipulation that the Council races hadn't even begun to understand. But how? Demanded High Speaker Zix, their gelatinous form rippling with agitation. We monitored your development. We saw your failures, your struggles with basic technology. Commander Lai Wei smiled. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. Every failed experiment was carefully staged. Every limitation precisely calculated. We've been conducting the galaxy's greatest intelligence operation, gathering data on your capabilities while hiding our own. The display shifted to show Earth's true defense grid, a complex network of quantum satellites and spatial distortion fields that made their solar system virtually impenetrable. The primitive missile platforms and shield generators the aliens had observed were revealed as sophisticated holograms, masking technology that had been decades ahead of galactic standards. But why? Asked Arxos the Eternal, his ancient form trembling with a mixture of fear and admiration. Why maintain this deception? Admiral Chen's expression grew serious. Because humanity learned its lesson from Earth's history. When technologically advanced civilizations encounter less developed ones, the results are rarely beneficial for the latter. We needed to understand the galaxy's power structure, its politics, its technological capabilities, all while ensuring we could defend ourselves if necessary. She paused, letting her words sink in. We chose to appear weak while building our strength, to be dismissed while studying our potential adversaries. And now that we understand the galaxy's true nature, we can finally take our place as equals, not as supplicants begging for acceptance, but as a power that has earned its position through ingenuity and foresight. The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity hadn't just deceived them. They had outmaneuvered the entire galactic community. Every mockery, every dismissal had only served to make their deception more effective. "We don't seek dominion," Chen declared. "We seek partnership, but partnership based on mutual respect, not condescension. The question now isn't whether humanity deserves a place in the galactic community. The question is whether the galactic community is ready to accept a humanity that isn't as primitive as they assumed." As if to punctuate her words, the Ghost Fleet executed a synchronized quantum jump, vanishing and reappearing in perfect formation around the Council station. It was both a demonstration of power and a subtle reminder. Humanity could have chosen a very different way to reveal their true nature. The age of human submission was over. The era of genuine galactic cooperation was about to begin, whether the Council races were ready or not. The weeks following humanity's revelation transformed the galactic political landscape more profoundly than any event in the past millennium. The Council chambers, once a stage for technological posturing, had become a forum for genuine diplomatic exchange as the reality of Earth's achievements sank in. Admiral Chen sat in what had previously been the Vraxian flagship's command center, now temporarily converted into a neutral meeting ground. Around her, representatives from the galaxy's major powers gathered not to mock, but to learn. The crystalline walls reflected the faces of beings who had, until recently, dismissed humanity as barely worth noting. "Your quantum mesh technology," the Vraxian war strategist Kurtul began, his crystalline form humming with barely contained excitement. "It doesn't just bend scanning beams around your ships. It processes them somehow, converting hostile scans into useful data," Dr. Rodriguez confirmed, projecting a hologram that displayed the principles in terms the aliens could understand. "Your attempts to analyze our capabilities became part of our defensive network. Every probe you sent taught us more about your technology while reinforcing our camouflage." The Meridian Collective's representatives pulsed with colors that indicated deep professional respect, and your ship's apparent navigational precision, even when using what we thought were primitive drives. Commander Lai Wei smiled. "Those primitive fusion drives were just shells. Inside, we were using quantum slitstream technology, our own development, based on principles we discovered before we even made first contact. We didn't follow your technological path because we already found a better one." The revelation that humanity had developed its technology independently, following different theoretical principles, had shaken the galactic community's fundamental assumptions. Species that had evolved together tended to develop along similar technological lines. Humanity's divergent path had produced capabilities that the alien sensors couldn't even detect, let alone counter. But surely, High Speaker Zix's gelatinous form rippled with curiosity. "You must have had failures. Real ones, not the stage demonstrations we observed." "Of course," Chen replied. "But we learned from each one, while you saw what you expected to see. A young species stumbling toward the stars. We were testing and refining technologies that worked on completely different principles. Your expectations became our greatest camouflage." Arxos the Eternal, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke. "In all my millennia, I have never seen such a masterful integration of technological advancement and strategic deception. You didn't just hide your capabilities, you turned our own prejudices into your shield." The ancient being's words carried special weight. The precursor races had seen countless civilizations rise and fall, but humanity's approach was unprecedented. They had entered the galactic stage, not through conquest or gradual acceptance, but through a carefully orchestrated revelation that left no doubt about their capabilities while avoiding actual conflict. "We're releasing details of some of our technological developments," Chen announced, triggering a series of holographic displays. "Not our most advanced systems, but enough to demonstrate our willingness to contribute to galactic progress. In return, we expect full membership in the Council and participation in all technological exchange programs." The aliens studied the offered data with intense interest. Even these basic human technologies represented significant advances in several fields. More importantly, they demonstrated approaches to physics and engineering that opened entirely new avenues of research. There will be those who resent this deception, Zixth warned, though their tone carried no accusation. Some may see your actions as a betrayal of galactic trust. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged, but we prefer that to the alternative, being dismissed, exploited, or worse while we were still developing our defenses. History taught us that technological disparities rarely benefit the less advanced species. We chose to ensure we could protect ourselves before revealing our true capabilities. The meeting continued long into the night, as former adversaries became reluctant but genuine partners. Trade agreements were drafted, technological exchange protocols established, and new diplomatic channels opened. The galaxy was adjusting to a new reality, one where humanity was not just another emerging civilization, but a power that had earned its place through ingenuity, foresight, and strategic patience. In Earth's orbit, the Ghost Fleet maintained its vigilant watch, its ships now visible to all but no less formidable for being seen. They served as a reminder that humanity's revelation of its true nature didn't mean they had revealed all their capabilities. Some technologies remained classified, some advances hidden, insurance against those who might mistake openness for vulnerability. As Admiral Chen prepared to return to Earth, she paused to watch the galactic traffic flowing through human space. Ships from a dozen species, now approaching openly instead of trying to conduct covert surveillance. It wasn't perfect harmony. Too many centuries of ingrained prejudices remained for that. But it was a beginning. Humanity had changed the rules of the game. They had proven that true strength lay not in displaying power, but in knowing when to reveal it. The galaxy would never be the same, and that, after all, had been the plan all along.